Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Nadex Morning Analysis, where we look at hot spots or potential hot spots in the markets today. It is Tuesday, August 3rd. My name is Todd Rich. I'm with Nadex. With me from Keep Trading Simple is Brian Caprice. Before Brian and I jump into it, I do need to quickly share this disclaimer that trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for everyone, that any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. And this is an educational session. Please do not construe anything Brian or I say as a buy or sell recommendation. We are doing this for your education purposes. Now, today we are going to be, there is a full blown hour long session. In fact, I am sending that link out right now to anyone who isn't registered. That will be at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central. So please, if you haven't registered yet, you can by all means register for that. In the meantime, we are going to take a look at a couple of hot spots this morning for the open in 45 minutes. Hot spot number one, you can look at it right here on this chart: crude oil. Yesterday, oil got clipped quite a bit. I know the news yesterday was around uh, OPEC Plus, particularly Russia, and how they are increasing production as they ease production curbs. There's going to be more supply. Oil is supply demand. More supply out there would drive prices lower. The drop this morning is a bit of a mystery. Not sure really what's going on there. But we're going to take a look at some technical levels and where you might want to look for some trade setups, as oil is definitely moving around. The other one we might take a quick peek at is probably the Dow, the equity indices. They were all looking green earlier. They're still looking green, just not quite as green. So things are pulling back as the Europeans shift sessions and hand the baton over to the U.S. retail trader. So with that, Brian, let's kick it off and start with the mystery in oil.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Yeah.
I got nothing. No, I mean yesterday morning we were sitting up here and we talked about how there had been that brief setup in the morning about 6:30. We had a nice little pop. Overall, it was hitting a level and we were going to have to see what the open looked like. And we mentioned that we were obviously in a downtrend. We saw lower highs consecutively. We blew through a gap. We knew we were at 11. We took a bounce. When I said it was negative and I didn't expect it to go to 70 today, I guess I was wrong. It was obviously negative.
And it went
Ended
to
up
70
dropping.
in a day.
Yeah, I mean, I should stop making those comments. Like, I feel like I'm gonna get busted here eventually. Like, I don't know who's watching, if it's Uncle Warren or who it is, but like, I keep making these comments. I'm like, I didn't want it. I didn't expect it to drop that much. I said bearish, but I shouldn't have made that comment. So it's my fault. I apologize, guys, for cheaper gas. I'll do better next time. But
It's all your fault.
I mean, somebody gave it, and actually somebody messaged me about it. One of my students is like, "Hey, what happened? It won't go to 70 in a day." I'm like, "My bad." Like, I told you it was bearish. But anyway, yeah. I mean, obviously that is a move that is just not something that anybody would have expected. You mentioned Russia and OPEC Plus and things like that. I mean, all this was agreed upon, so this is typically factored into the market. Some of this data is actually, it's being tied back to the demand in China being lower, but it wasn't like the data there was really kind of crazy. Experts always take Chinese data with a little bit of grain of salt anyway. It was still above kind of the big expansion reduction level, but again, typically when you see that big of a move with no real blockbuster anything out there,
Yeah.
it's kind of a big deal. And again, to see it in a second day, I mean, again, the European traders just picked up exactly where U.S. traders left off yesterday. You can see it was a very, very small, it was a little big situation yesterday. It was like a little huge situation yesterday, right? Pulled down, pulled back again, and then again, kind of tapered off, right? Here was the end of the U.S. session, and it really did nothing until the Europeans stepped in again. And they were like, oh, yeah, we're going to sell it? All right, let's do it. And now they've sent it down almost in an identical kind of a big situation. So the crazy thing about where we are right now at 69.45, if it broke through 69.84, you can see that we are in kind of another racetrack scenario here where prices are not really targeted again until 68.46. That would be an absolutely just insane kind of week right now. I mean, figure we started the week here. That would be like a $5.50 drop in oil in 2 days, 3 days, and it's not even an oil inventory day. So kind of crazy that we're having this much movement, particularly because over the weekend we did hear the news about the United States, Israel, and I guess somebody, I forget who the other one, UK maybe,
On the
um,
rant.
going after Iran. And remember, Iran
Yeah.
was part of the OPEC Plus deal that there was going to be sanctions removed, and they were going to start adding their supply into the overall OPEC, which again, absolutely should have driven the market down again. But whenever you hear them in the news that they're pointing fingers at him, it's kind of like, all right, is that going to be in jeopardy? You would expect kind of the opposite reaction a little bit, because some of the supply that was agreed and expected to return is now not necessarily there. Now, again, I did mention yesterday the summer gas thing. That is something that is absolutely coming into effect. It's a little bit early for it, and maybe this is just the market trying to kind of front run the scenario. But again, a lot of this too, I think, will probably go back, and some of it will be going back to the whole Delta variant, and Florida is trying to, is breaking records.
That's the one thing that makes sense to me is, as the COVID spreads a little bit more, I'm wondering if people's summer plans for August here in the States are getting pushed aside. And
Yeah, I mean, thus far, I haven't seen closures yet. At least
yeah,
where I am, everybody's different. I mean, there was just Lollapalooza. Your state did an excellent job. There's a picture that I got sent with over 100,000 people, and most of them with no masks on in Chicago. So there we go. Florida number two, I guess, but up in the up in the north.
and by the
Yeah,
way,
I
we
mean,
got a really good question on in just regard to, what oil is America consuming? And I mean, I'm
Canadian.
yeah, we
Yeah,
consume a lot of Canadian oil. We consume a lot of our. I mean, America is actually an oil exporter, so
yeah.
we consume a lot. But when people look at the price of crude oil itself, they do take a look a holistic. I took a look a global
Mhm.
picture of all of the supply, and historically, people still tend to think of OPEC and the Middle East and Russia and their influence on the price of oil. But it is rather interesting how oil can move on something, any one of those regions. A disruption anywhere can impact the price of oil. So
Yeah, and a lot of it is, again, it is supply. It is one of those supply-driven commodities. A lot of it now, the price is driven by China, because they're kind of at the stage in their economy where they are
right,
consuming tons and tons. They're the ones that are starting to consume the bulk of all the new growth. But at the same time, China's also putting the most research into alternative means of fuel, some of the other liquids out there, some of the other gases. And while they're consuming a ton of oil because they have to, they are well ahead of the curve. And at the same time, strategically speaking, China is whenever they've had the opportunity to, they have purchased a lot of Middle East companies to produce oil. So it was one of those things. It was what drove the United States to kind of further our development here. And again, it's what drove us to become a producer. A lot of the greed that OPEC had, and 2 years ago, OPEC really had no power because the United States was producing so much. But now that they have canceled the pipeline and pushed a lot of things back again, OPEC has come back into the spotlight and now has control to kind of really jack the price around however they want. If OPEC Plus agreed to not produce it, oil would still be very, very high priced.
yeah,
But unfortunately, greed got the better of them. Some of the countries there were like, no, 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 it's $70. We need to get more out, because again, they lose a ton of money by doing that, and they all know where the future is. I mean, the future is not necessarily in gasoline fuels. So it's kind of one of those things. If you don't take advantage of it now, you're going to lose the opportunity, and those countries know that. So
yeah. By the way, I just wanted to, before we flip over to something else, I'm just taking a quick peek. I mean, just to give you an idea of how quickly oil has dropped today. I was trying to take a peek. Are there knockouts or call spreads that might be interesting? The lowest call spreads, they're starting to drop more into the middle of that range, um, everywhere. I mean, this is a pretty dramatic move that's really caught everyone off by surprise. So, not sure what's
yeah,
going on here, and
and
yeah, the
just so you
best way to
guys to
play
keep.
it might be with binaries. So,
Yeah, I mean, and just to keep it in context, guys, the last time when we broke through that $70 level, it took 11 and a half days to get up to the peak at 74. And now we've retraced that back again in less than 2 days.
yeah,
So, you talk about how, this is one of those things that traders don't understand. Like, traders will typically get very, very excited when the markets go down. So here, I'll block it off. So this is where we were.
yep,
That is 11 days worth of movement right there, that blue box. Then you go to where we opened on Sunday night to now, it's there. So, again, drawing a box. This is why traders love when the markets go down. And people are like, oh, that's so negative. No, it's not negative. Things go down faster than they go up. There's the down. So you can see how long
Right.
it took to rally up and then how fast it went down. So when you're able to grab these positions while everybody else is getting anxious, this is where you start hitting that sell button. Be like, yes, yes, because it happens so much faster. So again, down is. I always got asked me like, why are you so positive when the market goes down? I was like, because it goes down fast.
Yeah.
And they were
What
like,
is it?
what?
The saying is, and you're here. It's really easy. Like it goes up on an escalator and down on the elevator.
Mhm.
Is the actual saying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And it's not like and this is not widespread. I mean, if you're looking at gold right now, gold's doing nothing. Gold is just basing sideways. I mean, this is where we were yesterday. We're in the exact same spot. Silver's up a little bit. If you're looking at the currencies in the overnight, you can see that there's a few movers in there. The dollar, is a little bit, but 14. I mean, when you have a daily ATR of, approximately, 80 to 100 is kind of what's average. 13 in 24 hours is nothing. 33 is nothing. Minus 34 in the pound yen, the most volatile of all pairs. That's like 110 to 120 a day at 37. This is showing you not a lot of movement, but then you look over across again at oil, and oil's down, 2.84% or
yeah.
2.8% right now. So it's an absolutely huge mover when everything else out there. I mean, when you scroll through, Tesla's up big again, not surprised. Apple's down little. I mean, the indices right now are showing up 0.18, 0.15, 0.2, 0.34 in the Russell. And again, we knew that one was going to move more. Any of the currencies, the biggest currency right now is the pound dollar, and it's up 0.3, yet oil is down 2.6%. So again, it is definitely the outlier right now, and it's definitely something that, again, be looking for this. Once this puts a base in, there will be some, again, everybody that's been getting short has been loving this, but eventually they're going to take this off the table. And again, remember, as a retail trader, you see that, oh my God, it's down again. What's next? 60? You're going to start selling it. And everybody wants to start selling it when you should actually be doing the opposite. You should be trying to find a base in this one and starting to take it back up in the other direction. Because that's how the market works. It's an impulse and then a corrective move. And again, if you wanted the market, you could say that, hey, listen, there's your impulse. And even just a move there, yeah, it's only half the amount, but we're still talking about from the bottom $1.50, which is about what the ATR is for a day. So, it was basically 2 days down, 1 day back up again. And if you guys are going to attend the meeting next week, there just happens to be one of the things that I'm talking about is retracements and extensions. This just happens to be one of those. So if you guys want to learn how to do that next week, make sure you sign up for the Education Summit on Tuesday.
Right there's that's a great. You know what? I will grab the link for that. There's a boot
Yeah,
camp, how to day
this
trade the
just
stock
happens to
market.
be what I'm talking about tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, it's how to day trade the stock market, but Brian will be covering a lot of technical analysis in his particular session.
Mhm.
So, I'll grab that link. Hey, by the way, Brian, real quickly, just because again it's being asked, which charting platform you can do all of this on. You could do a lot of this on the Nadex trading platform, which is the dark theme. But Brian, which charting platform are you using? Just
Yeah,
so we
so
compare.
yeah, this one is TradingView, so I can access it from a number of different locations. It's a little bit different, but everything that I draw on here, you could also do on the Nadex platform. Actually, for the slide deck that I built for it, I used just the Nadex platform. I actually did draw fibs here, just so people could see. I did it here so you could see what varying different fibs look like on different platforms. But for the most part, the slide deck that I use has all the pictures from your Nadex charting.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, by the way, I am dropping in a link. If I can manage to hit paste. There we go. If you haven't registered for the boot camp on Tuesday, for next Tuesday, and again, you don't have to join the whole day, but if you register, you will get access to the recordings as well as the slide decks. But you have to register in order to get access to that right away. And you can come and go as you please, and just if you want, just come to Brian's session when he talks technical analysis.
Mhm. Yeah, and let me
With
just let me just say this as well too for people,
yes,
guys. It doesn't necessarily matter the charting platform you're on. I will say there are some differences between different platforms. The reason why I used TradingView in here is just because I can have all the different asset classes. Nadex is different in the fact that you can trade commodities, you can trade stock indices, you can trade forex, you can trade futures. Not all platforms have that ability. A lot of the currency platforms out there, you only can see currencies, and futures platforms typically don't have a lot of data on some of the commodity or on some of the currencies or indices out there. This just has everything, and that's why I use it because it's easy. But like I said, they're all different. I actually use multiple platforms to trade with, and again, it's not bad because sometimes the way that they paint the candles, sometimes it's a little bit clearer picture on one thing, so it's not bad to have multiple sources that you can rely back to.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Perfect. That is perfect. All right. I think we're going to leave it there because I think today really is the story was all about oil. We did touch on a little
Mhm.
bit, that there's not a whole lot going on every place else. And I want to encourage everyone. Brian is going to be doing that full blown session today. It will be in exactly 3 hours. Please register and come back in 3 hours and join us for that, as well as the Nadex Bootcamp next Tuesday. You got any questions for Nadex? Please email us customer service at nadex.com. You can also get Brian by email on support at keeptradingsimple.com. Again, what we really covered today, it was a surprise drop in oil. So that is the hot spot for the day. Take a look at oil. Something's going on. There is some volatility over there, while the rest of the markets seem to be a little sleepy, a little quiet here in the summer. There's definitely some action going on in oil. With that, we will hopefully catch you again in a few hours, if not tomorrow morning. Thanks, everyone, and good luck in the markets.